Hello my friends, I am back and today we're going to be talking about December. December is rich with pagan and witchy holidays and traditions that align with the cycles of nature and celebrate the returning of the sun. But before we dive into that, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a life update. As you may or may not have noticed, I have been gone for quite a few months, and that was a bit unintentional. I had a baby. And that was really great. However, he came 2 months early. So a lot of things happened this year that were very unexpected and challenging for me, which sort of put my YouTube endeavors on the back burner. My son came 2 months early. It was completely unexpected. It was pretty traumatic, and we ended up staying in the hospital for a whole month with him. And then coming home, there was still a lot of medical appointments and follow-ups to do. And it was just really hard. You know, becoming a parent for the first time is hard regardless of the circumstances, but this just came completely out of the blue and we were totally unprepared. Needless to say, it was a rough couple of months. I did end up developing postpartum depression and anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. These are all things that are kind of still difficult for me to talk about, but I just wanted to give you guys that update so that you don't think that I just abandoned my YouTube. And those of you who are still here, I'm so grateful, and I hope you are looking forward to me coming back and doing my usual, Slavic paganism series and just talking about witchcraft in general. This is a huge passion of mine and I've missed it, and I'm finally feeling like myself again, and things are going really great with my son. Everything's wonderful, knock on wood. But yeah, I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm fine. It's just I wanted to give you this update and kind of explain where I've been. Anyways, enough about that. If you guys want to hear more about my personal life, let me know. But today we're going to be talking about the month of December. Here in the Northeast, it is cold, it is chilly. I've got my warm cup of coffee. Grab your cup of tea, coffee, or another warming beverage. And let's dive in. I'm going to be chatting about some of the December traditions that I'm really looking forward to this year, mainly through the lens of Slavic paganism, but also through just a general pagan, witchy perspective. Most pagans and witches celebrate the winter solstice. Usually happens around December 20th to the 23rd, depending on the year. And it is a celebration of light coming back because right in those days, December 21st is usually the longest night of the year and the shortest day. That's when we see the least amount of sunlight. And after that date, the sun starts to return little by little, and there's more light coming back, and spring is not that far on the horizon. As you can imagine, for ancient people, this was huge. Winters were really notoriously difficult for them to live through, especially in colder climates such as Europe and Eastern Europe and the Slavic regions. So winter solstice was a marker. Things are about to start getting better. In the witchcraft community, the winter solstice is typically referred to as Yule. However, there are lots of different similar traditions depending on which type of paganism you take a look at. In Roman paganism, this was usually the holiday of Saturnalia. For the Germanic people, it was Mother Night. A lot of Norse pagans celebrate the Wild Hunt. And of course, Slavic pagans celebrate Koliada. I've spoken a little bit about this holiday Koliada in my other video about the Slavic Wheel of the Year, so feel free to check that out. Lots of great information in there. But essentially, Koliada is the Slavic version of the Winter Solstice, Festival of Lights, celebration of the sunlight returning to the world. As you probably already know, Christmas, the modern day commercialized Christmas holiday, takes, I would even say steals, a lot of its traditions from ancient pagan holidays of winter solstice. Things like evergreens, decorating the tree, the mistletoe, the Yule log, those are all things that started thousands and thousands of years ago in these pagan communities. Now that I have my son, I have been thinking more about how I want to raise him and in what traditions. And of course, the magic of Christmas and just the coziness of December, I really want that to be a part of our family tradition, but I don't want the commercialized Santa Claus aspect of it. So I've been thinking about ways to incorporate Yule and Koliada in his life so that he still gets that magic of Christmas without the negatives of modern day Christmas, and so that he has a connection to his roots. So I wanted to share a little bit with you about the different traditions that stem from these ancient cultures and how they can be incorporated in your modern day celebration. So one of the major themes of the winter solstice is lights, returning of sunlight, and just kind of lighting candles and bonfires to keep the light going through the darkness of the longest night. So of course, to keep things cozy, I think one of the ways you can bring a little bit of magic into your winter solstice celebration is through lighting lots of candles, lights. The Yule log is an ancient tradition of having a large log, putting it into your fireplace and keeping it lit for the 12 days leading up to the winter solstice. If you don't have a fireplace, like I don't have one, you can simply get a log and like put little candles on it and just keep that lit. It can even be the centerpiece on your table. Specifically for Koliada, the sun was a big symbol of that holiday. So anything that's yellow and round and warm, I was thinking of getting like a big yellow candle and just lighting it for the 12 days leading up to the solstice. I think that would be a great way to incorporate a little bit of that symbology. Putting little lights throughout the house, decorating with them, wrapping them around the tree or really anywhere else in the apartment is another great way to kind of add a little bit of that light magic into your home and create a cozy hygge atmosphere. Since the sun deities are the ones primarily celebrated during Koliada, I think simply incorporating other imagery of sun would be a great idea. Baking a bread that is round and looks like the sun, cookies with sun symbols on them, or simply just other decorations that incorporate that imagery would be really cool. I know a lot of modern day like Christmas tree decorations incorporate stars, but I think instead if you could find some decorations or even make some decorations that look like little suns, that's a great way to add a little bit of that Koliada or Yule element into your Christmas tree. And speaking of Christmas trees, that is of course an ancient Yule tradition. Evergreens were seen as the symbol of perseverance and survival in the winter because they're the only trees that don't die. They remain green throughout the cold season. So evergreens were the symbol of surviving that time and making it through the winter. So putting evergreens throughout your space is a great way to honor that tradition. Decorating your altar with some fir branches, putting up a Christmas tree, decorating with lights. Also making a wreath out of evergreens is a super fun thing to do with your kids. My son's only 6 months, so it's not really something we can do yet, but in the future, that's sort of something I plan on doing. If you do have a backyard or some access to land, a bonfire is a great idea for Koliada as well. Bonfires were huge during that time in Slavic paganism. Usually the night of Koliada, the night of the winter solstice, is when everybody threw together all the wood they had and burned a large fire in the middle of the village. And usually everyone in the village would come out and spend the night there, including young children. It was just a lot of fun. Everybody was drinking, everybody was eating, everybody was singing, and people were just staying warm and celebrating that light. If you have the space, highly recommend doing that on the night of Winter Solstice Eve. Speaking of drinking and eating, feasting and alcohol were a big part of this holiday. So if you partake, definitely enjoy like a warm mulled wine. I think that's a great way to celebrate the season. As far as feasting goes, again, anything that is warming and rich, people went all out for this holiday. I think because they had hope that the next harvest season wasn't that far and that they're gonna make it. So they would take things out of their cellars and cook up a big feast for everybody. And it was just a holiday full of generosity and celebration. Another way that the Slavs liked to celebrate Koliada is through various divination practices. It was considered to be a liminal time, so the time where the veil between our world and the other world is the thinnest. So those dates are usually the best for divination because you can reach the other world to ask questions, to get answers, to speak to the spirits. And divination was huge during the night of Koliada. You don't have to do anything special. There's a lot of tea leaf reading. You could do tarot cards. You can do a pendulum. I think any sort of divination that you have access to or have enjoyed doing is wonderful for this time of year. Personally, I'm really looking forward to decorating a Koliada tree. Definitely going to use some lights and probably natural decorations that I'm going to make myself. So that would include orange slices. I think they do a great job representing the sun. You can also go outside and find some pine cones. You can even decorate them or paint them. I'm looking forward to some storytelling. I think it would be a great way to introduce children to the holiday of Koliada by finding some books about it, or just coming up with something yourself and just sort of explaining what this holiday is about. And then at the end of that, letting my son kind of partake in the tradition by maybe lighting a candle. Again, this is when he's older, but these are all sort of ideas that I'm coming up with and really looking forward to. I look forward to taking him outside and looking for those pine cones and other sort of natural elements that we can maybe use as decorations for the tree. And I'm also really looking forward to baking some seasonal treats. I'm just thinking, like, I'm not a big baker, so I'm gonna keep it simple, but round breads, cookies with maybe decorated with symbols of the sun, those types of things. Now, what about gifts? Did people give gifts during Yule and Koliada? There's like mixed information about that. I think it's fairly widely accepted that there was an exchange of treats and goods of some sorts. People did go around caroling, both in Europe and in the Slavic cultures. And usually they would receive some kind of gift or treat from the household that they were caroling in front of. But it wasn't, as far as I know, it wasn't a huge holiday for like boxes upon boxes of gifts under the tree, you know? It was mostly little things, symbolic, little gift bags maybe, lots of food being given as a gift, and maybe small trinkets. So I kind of am leaning towards not doing that whole commercial Christmas thing where you spend hundreds of dollars on gifts from Walmart. It's just not really my vibe personally. I do love giving gifts, and of course I'm gonna get my son gifts, but I think it's more important to keep it small and to really instill the values that were originally celebrated as part of this holiday, rather than making it all about gifts and Santa Claus. I don't think we're gonna do Santa Claus in my house. So that's kind of my plan for how I wanna incorporate these traditions in my family. There are lots of ways you could do this. You can mix and match different ideas, take the best of what you find and make it your own. Another thing I just wanted to point out about December this year is that there's going to be a full moon on December 15th, 2024. It is known as the cold moon. This moon marks the onset of deep cold winter. It's usually a good time for reflection, of slowing down, of standing still, of thinking about the year that you've just gone through and tallying it up, summing it up for yourself, trying to see what you learned. It has certainly been a big year for me, a year full of challenges, but also overcoming challenges. So I think I'm going to make sure to take that opportunity on the full moon to have a little ritual for myself, a little intentional celebration. A big part of this process is also releasing some of the things that you've been through, releasing some of the pains and things that are no longer serving you. I think that's something that's really important for me to do. And of course, at the end of that, there is the sense of renewal that's coming, the new year, the new sunlight, the new harvest, the year ahead. Think of all those, like that feeling you get when New Year is coming up and you're starting to, you got a new planner and you're starting to write down new goals and New Year's resolutions. That's kind of the vibe of this moon as well. So overall, I'm really excited for this month because it's like, I don't know, I love planning for the new year. I love setting big goals for myself. I love taking the time to sit with myself and figure out what I've learned, what I could do better, and making a plan for what I'm gonna do next. I encourage you to take this time, this whole month of December as an opportunity to slow down, reflect, celebrate yourself, celebrate your accomplishments, celebrate what you've been to, let go of what no longer serves you, and adopt some fun and cool pagan traditions into your life. And yeah, look forward to what's ahead, because there's a lot of great things ahead. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing. I am back for good. I am back to my regular schedule. I will be posting more Slavic paganism content, as well as general like witchy and manifestation content. I'm so happy to be back with you guys, and I'm so thankful for those of you who are still here and watching. Anyways, have a happy holiday season, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.